The San Fernando Valley. Now, why are so many people considering moving to this region, this part of Los Angeles? Well, in this video, we're gonna go over what it feels like to live in the San Fernando Valley.
Beautiful San Fernando Valley.
And actually, from now on in the video, we're just gonna be calling it the Valley because that's what the locals call it and that's what it's known for. When you reference the Valley, you are talking about the San Fernando Valley, not the San Gabriel Valley, not the Santa Clarita Valley, but the San Fernando Valley. So, why the Valley? Now, Los Angeles is enormous, as you've seen in many of my other videos. The Valley is no different. I mean, the Valley makes up about 260 square miles. It's a big region in Los Angeles and houses about 1.6 million people. So a large area. Now, within the Valley itself, you have different sections and it feels different depending on what part of the Valley you live in. But in this video, we're gonna go over the overall feel. So what has so many people moving here? Now, cost has a lot to do with it. Cost of living in the Valley is a lot less expensive than many parts of Los Angeles. And if you wanna know more about the cost of living, make sure you check out my video that's dedicated to that, the cost of living in the San Fernando. But besides that, what does it feel? What are drawing people to this area? Now, I personally made the move to the Valley from West Los Angeles. I did that in around 2016. I was a West Los Angeles kid. I grew up there, born and raised. I love it. I still love it. But I moved to the Valley for a particular reason, and that is I just wanted a quieter feel, a quieter sense, a little bit more peaceful, away from the hustle and bustle, and not being in the middle of all the action. I wanted more of that suburban lifestyle, and so my wife did. We were going to start a family. We knew we were going to do that, and it just made sense for us to do this. Now, of course, again, I mentioned the cost of living. We were able to buy a much bigger house in the Encino area of the Valley than we were in the Mar Vista or Venice area where we were also considering. And so, having lived in both West LA and the Valley, I can certainly tell you from my own experience what it actually feels like to live in the Valley coming from the West Los Angeles area. And if you're moving, of course, from other parts of the country, in this video, I'm going to share what it's like to live in this area. Now, it took a little convincing for me to move to the Valley. Now, my wife is from Chatsworth, the neighborhood in the Valley, but I wasn't, and I didn't really know much about it. I didn't really hang out there. But after I went out a few times, I really understood. I really got why the Valley was so appealing. And one of the main reasons I didn't want to move to the Valley was because I was a beach guy. I loved going to the beach. I was just a few miles from the beach, and that was a big part of my lifestyle. But that's when I was a kid. That's when I was in my 20s. As I got older, I didn't find myself going to the beach as much, and it didn't make sense to pay the prices of living by the beach if I wasn't going to use it as much. Now, if you're a person that's going to be at the beach and take advantage of that, highly recommend the West Side, no doubt, because that part of that lifestyle is incredible. But it just wasn't who I was. It just wasn't part of my lifestyle anymore, and I knew I wasn't going to be going there as often, and I can always go there when I wanted to. Okay, let's just describe where the Valley is. It is the northern part of Los Angeles, and the southern border of the Valley would be the Santa Monica Mountains, Hollywood Hills. The northern part would be the Santa Clarita Mountains, San Gabriel Mountains. And to the east, over by Burbank, you're talking about the Verduga Mountains. And to the west, you are talking about Simi Hills. So within that area, and it's pretty easy to look at the map. It's basically shaped as a grid, 90-degree turns, two-way streets. There's really no one-way streets. It's a really suburban feel, suburban lifestyle, and it's easy to find when you are looking up that region in Los Angeles. I'm Dave Fine with the Real Estate Dads, a licensed real estate agent right here in Los Angeles. And I love helping people move and relocate to the LA area. Now on this channel, you're gonna find videos of what it's like to work, live, and play. And so make sure you subscribe, tap the bell to get notified, hit the like button if you like what you see, comment below. We always like to hear from our viewers. And again, we love helping people relocate to Los Angeles. It's such a big move. So make sure you contact us, give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, and we'll make sure we've got your back when moving to Los Angeles. Now you may have heard of the Valley, the San Fernando Valley, in cultural references in movies.
And it's in the Valley.
And in TV shows because it has become and was made very popular here because quite frankly, there's actually just a lot of filming, not just in the studios in the Valley, but all around in the neighborhoods. Many movies and TV shows film out in this area. And there's just a lot of references, especially if you look at 80s movies and 90s movies, where the Valley actually was kind of the butt of the jokes in many cases because, well, if you lived on the West Side, you really didn't associate or go to the Valley and vice versa. But a lot has changed since the 80s and 90s references, a lot of progress, a lot of development, and a lot of people are actually flocking to the Valley. Now, things like the indoor shopping mall was made popular in the Valley. BMX bike racing was made popular in the Valley. And those are just a couple of things. Oh, In-N-Out Burger, if you're not aware, if you're not living on the western part of the US, In-N-Out hamburger iconic hamburger joint made popular in the Valley. But besides all of that, why do people move here? What does it feel like to live here? And again, speaking from experience, I can share that with you. All right, let's just jump right into it. If you're looking for that suburban feel, the burbs is what the Valley is known for in Los Angeles, then the San Fernando Valley is your spot. Now, let's just call out what the Valley is not known for, and that is entertainment that goes much past 10 p.m. So if you're someone that's a night owl, likes the bar scene, likes the club scene, then the Valley is most likely not for you, unless you're going to certain parts of the eastern portion of the Valley, like in Studio City, Valley Village, Burbank, Glendale area. You're going to find a little bit more of a nightlife North Hollywood because it is just closer in general to the central of Los Angeles, downtown area, and also closer to the Hollywood area, where of course you're going to find tons of nightlife. So quieter neighborhoods, quieter sense of living, a lifestyle that's more suburban. If you're looking for something like that, then the Valley is absolutely for you. Because frankly, most restaurants are closing at 10 p.m. Not many bars around. If they do, they're open till midnight-ish, and not really going to find all that many clubs in the Valley area. So if you're looking for that quieter lifestyle, something that's more spacious, you have a little bit more room to spread out, then the Valley is for you. It is less densely populated. You have a much larger percentage of single family homes compared to larger high-rise apartments and condos. And so it just gives you that overall sense of freedom and a little bit more breathing space. And it also applies to traffic. Now, I've mentioned in many of my other videos, traffic is everywhere in the Los Angeles area, including the Valley, but there is less of it when you're driving around just the streets. The freeways are a mess, but in general, just less traffic. It's easier to park, less parking structures to pay, and less fees to pay when parking. These are all little aspects that you may not think about, but they do play a role when you're moving to Los Angeles, because you will run into these things when living in other parts of Los Angeles, but not so much when you're living in the Valley. Now, I mentioned before we were thinking about raising a family, and frankly, when I lived in West LA, when I was growing up, kids were playing outside, riding their bikes to basically when the lights came on. There was block parties, people hanging out on their porch. And I don't really see that as much or experience that as much. And some of my clients really don't experience that much when living in the West Los Angeles area and other parts of Los Angeles. But in the Valley, we still see quite a bit of that. I know when we moved there, we started raising our family, there was block parties, there was people hanging outside in the front, just neighborly. Kids were riding their bikes all around, chasing each other, riding around. And that's what I was looking for particularly when raising a family. Now, again, you may be moving here. Family life is not what you're looking for. But I would still say if you're looking for something that is quieter, whether you have a family or not, the Valley is for you. And if you're looking for that entertainment, not so much. In the Valley, you're just away from that bigger city life. Now, again, if you're moving somewhere that you're not used to living in, a big city like New York or Chicago, Houston, Dallas, Miami, San Francisco, San Diego, if you're not in the heart of those cities, if you're already living that suburban lifestyle, then you may really want to consider the Valley. You can always drive to or get to your entertainment spots. It's always going to be available when you're living in Los Angeles. But if you don't want to live right in the middle of it and you're not used to that, because that could be quite overwhelming. If you're right in the hub of the entertainment spots, it is congested, it's filled with traffic, it's a little bit dirtier, and you just don't feel like you can kind of breathe or get that space that you need when you're done with work, or if you just want to relax, because, well, every time you go out, you're just right in it. Whereas in the Valley, you don't have that feeling. And that's what I personally enjoyed. I just felt like I can spread out, I can breathe a little bit easier, and when I want to go to my entertainment spots, I'll drive there if I need to. But I didn't really need to live right in it. And I can see Los Angeles can be very overwhelming when you're not used to it, because it's so spread out and because it's so densely populated, that if you're, again, moving from somewhere that's not used to that, then the Valley is probably a good transition for you. I really like the Valley, and a lot of the people I meet, where it's really like the backyard barbecue, or as I mentioned, a block party, or just getting together and eating as friends and neighbors. That's like the entertainment. That's what people want to do when you're living in the Valley. Not to say that people don't go out to restaurants, because there's some really good eats and some great food in the Valley, and there are places of entertainment. There's no doubt about it. Some great shopping districts, but that doesn't seem to be like the driving force of people that are living in the Valley. People that are living more on the west side or in the center of Los Angeles or Beverly Hills in the Hollywood area, east of Los Angeles, like Los Feliz, you're looking for more of that social life of going to these gathering spots and seeing people from all over, just kind of hanging out all together. Whereas the valley is not so much that. You're not going to be seen. You're not really going to places to socialize and gather to meet a bunch of different people. You basically are kind of hanging out with your family or hanging out with your neighbors and friends. And that's just how you live. And that's kind of like the lifestyle in the valley. Now, I'm not trying to misrepresent the valley where people just don't socialize and they're not friendly. That's not it at all. In fact, I find that people living in the valley are really friendly and easy to socialize with. It's just that you're not really going to, art galleries and studios and clubs and bars to be seen and socialize and meet random people or large events. That's just not kind of the way of life in the valley. The people you live around and meet in the valley, again, are all there for the similar reasons, and that's just that they want a quieter lifestyle, more of the suburban feel, and just being away from it all. All right, now let's talk about more of some of the outdoor lifestyle, because that is a big part of living in Los Angeles, no matter where you are, because the weather is so great for the most part everywhere. We'll get to the valley weather in a minute, but being outdoors is kind of an important, it's just a way of life in Los Angeles. Now, specifically in the valley, being outdoors means you're going to some of our larger suburban parks, or you're hanging out in some of the mountain trails that I mentioned that border the San Fernando Valley area. So you will see a lot of people hiking on the trails, running with their dogs, walking with their dogs, and you'll see more of that park lifestyle. Whereas if you compare it to the west side, the outdoor lifestyle is a little bit mix of some of the coastal mountain ranges, but also being at the beach is a huge part of the West Los Angeles lifestyle. But if you're not a beach person, you may not want to pay the prices to live in West LA because you are going to pay a premium. You come over to the valley, a lot less expensive to live, housing's less expensive, and it still has and encourages an outdoor lifestyle, which I really do appreciate in the valley area. And we've got plenty of bike paths, and as I mentioned, plenty of hiking trails, and I take advantage of that with my family. They've got hiking clubs, walking clubs, which I've started in my own neighborhood. And what makes the valley a little bit more unique than other parts of Los Angeles, and this does have to do with the weather, is that there's a lot of people taking advantage of the evening weather in the valley, where if you're in the neighborhood, you see lots of people walking around in the streets, again, walking their dogs, just hanging out with their kids, especially during the spring and summer times where it's really hot during the day and the nights don't cool off as much. Now, there is a silver lining, something to take advantage of the daunting heat that comes in the valley, especially during the summertime, and just being able to be outside, and even in shorts and a t-shirt, frankly, during the summers, it just encourages you to be outdoors and, again, socializing within your community, within your neighborhood, and your neighbors and friends. Now, I did mention weather as being part of a lifestyle in the valley, and that's something that you do need to be prepared for, because the valley can get hot.
It's so hot out.
And it basically ultimately does become part of your lifestyle, what it feels like to live in the valley. It's one of the hottest regions in the Los Angeles area. Now, it's not brutally hot all year round, but it's certainly warmer than everywhere else. And when we're talking about the different seasons, which we really don't have seasons in Los Angeles or in the valley, but we'll talk about it anyway. In spring, you're talking about the mid 70s, which is very comfortable. And in the summer, though, we're talking about the 90s of an average temperature for about a few months. And during that time, you are also talking about triple digits. It gets brutally hot, 100, 105, 110, 115. And it can be quite stifling, and it just becomes part of the lifestyle. But there, again, silver linings, we look at the positive. There is a large pool lifestyle in the valley where a lot of homes come with pools, or your neighbors have pools, and you're just hanging out poolside. And that's pretty fun, actually. I love being in the water, especially on those hot days. It's cool and it's refreshing. You got people just hanging around, cooking it up right by the pool, and it's just part of the valley lifestyle. Now, it does stay warm going into fall. I've had Octobers, Halloweens where it's in the 80s. In the fall, you're talking about the upper 70s, mid 80s. And then when you get into the winter, you are talking about 60s and 70s for the most part. Now, I'm not going to dwell too much on the weather because I have talked about it in my other videos that you can check out, but it is part of the lifestyle and what it feels like to live in the valley because, well, I mean, you feel it when you get out of your car just to go to your house and the 100, 105, 110 degrees is hitting you. Man, it feels like that walk from your car to your house is like a mile. Or if you want to be outside, you've got to find shade or a pool to cool off or find some sort of relief. And again, because it's sunny and because Los Angeles in general It kind of encourages that outdoor lifestyle. It can be a little challenging during those summer times where a lot of people do find relief by going over the hill, going to the West Los Angeles area. And by the hill, I mean the Sepulveda Pass, which is very popular. It's basically your north-south connection to the West LA region of Los Angeles. Okay, let's talk about what's ingrained in you when living in the Valley, being a Valley guy, being a Valley girl, and that is Ventura Boulevard.
Ventura Boulevard.
It is the artery, it is the life's blood of the Valley. It is an 18-mile stretch that basically is a street that runs from Studio City to the east, 18 miles to the west to Woodland Hills. And again, as I mentioned, it is the hub. It is where you go when living in the Valley, especially if you're living in the southern portions of the Valley. It's where you're going to find some of your top restaurants, some of your fine dining, your casual eats. It's where you're going to go for some of your shopping like Target, as well as a lot of your big grocery stores like Whole Foods, Sprouts, Ralph's, you name it, it's there. It's really where you're going to go for anything and everything that you need along the Ventura Strip, including some of your businesses and your business districts like in Encino and in Sherman Oaks, where people go for work. Now, because there's such a suburban feel and there's so much residential homes in the Valley, Ventura Boulevard is really where people go to do all your shopping. Now, sure, there are different hubs, like in Northridge, you've got the Northridge Fashion Center, Woodland Hills, you've got the Westfield Topanga Mall and the outdoor area there, and in Porter Ranch to the north, you've got big shopping centers there, and in Burbank to the east, you've got big shopping centers there. But that's basically, I just mentioned the bordering neighborhoods that are in the San Fernando Valley area. Other than that, everything in the middle, you're really not going to find many places to go for shopping and entertainment. So Ventura Boulevard becomes just kind of part of the society. It's part of the lifestyle. It's really where you go to have any fun, to do shopping, and just kind of hang out. Now, entertainment is not a big draw. It's not the reason why you move to the Valley. But if you want some sort of entertainment, the Ventura Boulevard is pretty much where you're going to go. And if you are looking for more of a mix of suburbia and entertainment, then you're going to be kind of more in the eastern portion of the Valley, Sherman Oaks, Studio City, North Hollywood, Valley Village, Burbank, Glendale, those areas. Even along Ventura Boulevard, there's more bars there. The restaurants stay open a little bit later there. And it's just a little bit more of a mix of entertainment. Again, nothing like you're going to find in West LA, Los Feliz, downtown, Beverly Hills, Hollywood area, South Bay area. You're just not going to find the same type of entertainment there. But if you want to mix, that's the portion of the Valley you're going to go to. Now, the other feeling you may get when living in the Valley is you may feel a little isolated from the rest of the city. And that, again, is because it's really one of the only places to go for that suburban lifestyle. And a lot of people that live in Los Angeles, they don't necessarily want that suburban lifestyle, so they're not in the Valley. And if you want to go to your main entertainment hubs, you've got to step outside the Valley. So as I mentioned, you're not going to find any really big major clubs or bar scenes or even the sports teams. We don't really have any major sports teams in the Valley portion of the area. You have to go outside of Los Angeles, although the Rams did purchase a plot of land in Woodland Hills to create their practice facility. If you want to go to a game, you're going to downtown LA, you're going to Inglewood. If you want the high-end shopping, you're going to Century City, Beverly Hills, Santa Monica, Brentwood. If you want more of that artsy lifestyle, you're going to be more in Los Feliz, Culver City, Echo Park, downtown LA. It's just by living in the Valley, you're a bit more secluded and isolated from all of that. But again, maybe that's what you're looking for. That's what I was looking for a little bit. And that's what people in general are looking for when living in the Valley. So there is that like-minded feel. You're going to find plenty of people to meet and have fun with. And because the Valley is so big, it's a big part of the region. It's not like you're this little pocket neighborhood or this little corner that no one's ever heard of, or there's not many people around. It's not like that at all. Again, as I mentioned, 260 square miles, 1.6 million people just in this portion of Los Angeles, the Valley area, with people and around people. It's just, you're a little bit more isolated from the entertainment lifestyle that LA has to offer. My wife and I were really happy we made a decision to move to Encino, part of the Valley. I was a little reluctant because, again, I was born and raised in West LA. I didn't really go to the Valley much. My wife was born in Chatsworth. She was used to the Valley. She took a little pushing and prodding, but I eventually came over to the area, checked out some houses, checked out the lifestyle, and I realized, you know what? This was for me. At that stage in my life, it was the right move for me, and I really never looked back. And Again, I love the beach, don't get me wrong, but I can go to the beach when I want to. I wasn't going to the beach every day like I used to when I was a kid or even in my 20s. That's just not something I did anymore. So I didn't really need it in my backyard. I didn't need it within a few miles. I can get to it. What I did still like is being outdoors. And for me, the valley offers that. I really like hiking. We're surrounded by mountains and trails. I really enjoyed that. And the biggest thing is we just wanted something that was quieter, again, where we can raise our kids. They can be outside. Didn't really have to think twice about it in the areas that I was living in. And it just felt a little bit more relaxed, more calm, less hustle and bustle. And that's exactly what we were looking for when staying in Los Angeles, but wanting more of that suburban lifestyle. So if you're thinking about making that move and thinking about relocating to Los Angeles, not sure where you want to move to, make sure you hit us up, shoot us a text, send us an email, give us a phone call. We'll help you figure that all out. We'll guide you through your move and your relocation when coming to Los Angeles.